Hello my amazing people, I greet you according to your time. If it is your first time and you like what we are doing here, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. It's very important because it will enable you to know when we upload a new video. Here we react to all forms of videos, we educate, we inform the members of the public about what is happening. And to you YouTube, I appreciate you for creating this wonderful platform that we are using to disseminate information. At the same time, I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote violence, we do not promote hate speech, we do not promote misleading information. Rather, we are here to educate, inform the members of the public, and also to remind you too that a call for self-determination is never a call for war. Every country in the world have this.
In some sections of the media, that the 2024 budget was padded to the tune of 3 trillion, and that the executive was implementing a different budget from what was passed by the National Assembly, is not only very presumptuous, it is scandalous, and an attempt to incite the public against the National Assembly and the federal government.
Senate then dissolved into a committee of the whole. Armed with the transcribed English version of Ningi's interview, Olamileko went to work to dismantle Ningi's claim, explaining that the 3 trillion naira he alluded to were actually statutory budgets of agencies on first-line charge, the details of which are not usually captured in the national budget documents.
Agencies such as 1, the judiciary. The judiciary budget details is not contained in this document. 2, the National Assembly. The National Assembly budget details is not contained in this document. And it's no new thing. I have here a copy of the last 3 budget that was passed. 2021, 2022, 2023. All the details of these agencies I've mentioned are not contained in this document.
Nengi came prepared with heaps of documents. He hopes to prove his point, but he had no answers to Olamilekan's revelations. He also did not deny making reference to 2 separate budgets, one with 25 trillion naira and another with 28.7 trillion naira, when confronted by the president of the Senate, Govt. Instead, Nengi veered into the innermost secrets of the Senate, exposing dirtiest linens and throwing even more allegations, especially about disparity in constituency allowances of senators.
We discovered some senatorial districts in this particular document. Some senatorial districts have up to 120 billion, and my senatorial district has just 2 billion.
Senator Jaribe's follow-up statement that some senators received as much as 500 million naira for constituency projects added fuel to the burning flames in the Senate.
If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press?
I didn't get.
Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi.
From that moment on, total commotion, absolute confusion reigned in the Senate, forcing the Senate President Akpabio on his feet in a frantic attempt to call the senators to order. The dust finally settled, and Jaribe clarified on the issue he had earlier raised.
I was drawing from the statement Abdul Ningi made to me. He came to me to say there were discrepancies in the budget, and I said, let's go and see the Senate President. We went together. The Senate President told him to bring details, and that was the last I heard of it. But he told me that as a senior senator, he got extra 500 million in the budget. And I'm saying that he's not supposed to be the one to come here to speak the way he is speaking or go to the press.
Senate subsequently returned to the motion against Ningi and Senator Kawu, who had become an accessory in the matter for helping to spread Ningi's false allegation about the budget on the WhatsApp platform of Northern Senators Forum. At this point, it had become clear that Senator Ningi was fast sinking and needed to be saved. Frantic efforts by Senator Ali Ndume to find Ningi a soft landing failed, with Senator Okoyemi Bamidele describing Ningi and Kawu's actions as civilian coup against Akpabio and calling on the Senate to sanction both men.
What my big brother, distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi, who I respect so well, planned to do or set out to do was tantamount to a civilian coup, which has failed. And in doing this, he wanted to use the platform of Northern Senators Forum.
But it was Senator Jimoh Ibrahim that pulled the trigger when he asked the Senate to slam Ningi with 12-month suspension and caution Kawu.
Suspend his entitlement and privileges as Senator of the 10th Assembly or 10th Senate and make him stay away from the National Assembly during the period of suspension.
The prayer to suspend Ningi was eventually relaxed 3 months with the possibility of being waived if he tenders an unreserved written apology to the Senate.
The Senate hereby places distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi on suspension in respect of his vituperations, falsehood, and unverified report in the BBC interview, including other media houses.
Ningi's suspension takes immediate effect, and there was a Sergeant at Arms standing by to enforce his exit from the chamber and out of the National Assembly complex. Omo Bazwai, Rise News.
Those who are in support of the motion say aye.
Meanwhile, Senator Ningi has resigned as the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum. Ningi tendered his resignation in a letter addressed to the Secretary of the Caucus of Northern Senators moments after he was suspended for 3 months over his comments about the 2024 appropriation budget. Joining us now is Senator Eyinaya Abaribe of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, representing Abia South Senatorial District at the Senate. Abaribe is also a former Senate Minority Leader. Good morning, Senator Abaribe. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Ruben.
Well, Senator, what are we dealing with here with Senator Ningi's suspension? Some people say it's a cover-up. Some people say there are moral issues to be addressed. Some people insist that, in fact, they are shocked, scandalized, that ranking senators collected 500 million naira. And you are a ranking senator. You've been in that Senate since, is it 2007? Please let us know. Did you also collect 500 million naira, and for what?
Thank you, Ruben. Sometimes when all these things happen, you will get a little bothered. Let me say why I'm a little bothered. And if you notice yesterday, I really didn't say anything. I was just watching. I tried as much as possible to walk around the chamber and to cool tempers and talk to some people. Because my people say that when your house is on fire, you don't go around chasing rats in the house. Nigeria is in trouble. And we just had a recent case of mass kidnapping of children. And they're in the bush and all manners of things are happening. So I felt that maybe we should have, this should have been handled in a manner that would have ended it very quickly. And we go on to other things. But, well, the will of the Senate prevailed. And that's all I can say about that.
But as to the specifics, Senator, what exactly happened? The details that are outlined. Do you consider...
I can say this.
Yes. Okay.
Senator Ningi gave an interview. And that interview was amplified in ways that wasn't exactly what he intended. And Senator Lamilekon, on raising a point of order on the matter, as chairman of appropriation, and gave a succinct detail about whatever Ningi felt he didn't have the full details about, and that is that there was about 3.7 billion or about 3 billion, not billion, 3 trillion. And when Olamilekon showed that these were for the statutory transfers to agencies of government that do not come inside the budget, which amounted to exactly that same amount, I felt personally that that should have been where the matter ought to have ended. And then we probably will caution Ningi and the matter. And so Ningi was given a chance to walk back from his assertion because he said that he was given a document which he commissioned by an outside consultant. Most likely that consultant didn't have the full awareness of how details the budget is supposed to be. And at that point, we had all, tried to talk to Ningi and said, well, just apologize and then let's leave this matter. But maybe in trying to continue to insist on what he said, which had now been proven to be not correct, he went ahead to now raise up other issues. And it is in all that whole thing that I would say reason now took flight. And once it comes to this kind of point, there will be emotions, there will be so much things going in and out. And then, of course, people can say things that they will say, oh, I never meant what I said, and so forth. And right. I will also say that Senator Ningi knew that it was going to be a mistake. He knew. He can't say, he's a member of the Senate. He's an old senator. He had been in the Senate before.
Senator Abaribe?
That this wasn't correct. Yes, Ayo.
All right. Thank you so much. Your ranking senator, Dr. Abati, had asked you the question. Just to clarify, the 500 million naira that Senator Abaribe had mentioned that was given to ranking senators for constituency projects. Did you get that 500 million naira? And what was can you clarify what the use or what the purpose of that money was for?
I never got 500 million. I think Jaribe tried to clarify his statement. And he came back subsequently to say, no, Ningi told me I was given and all that kind of, and he didn't get. He's also a ranking senator. So I think that at the end of the day, what you see really is that well, I'm an Abga senator, and I'm the only Abga senator in the Senate. Maybe being a minority of a minority, they didn't consider me worthy of being given. Nobody told me.
Do you know of anyone, any senator who received that amount of money?
I wanted to say, without equivocation, that both Jaribe, Senator Jaribe, and the Senate leader, Okweyemi, tried to clarify this issue. Number one, nobody was giving 500 million because that's what is trending. Even a few of my constituents call me and say, so you get 500 million, would they beg you for money? No one give us 1 naira out of it. Can you imagine? So, and what Okweyemi said is that, of course, we get what we call zonal intervention projects, which some Nigerians know as constituency projects. And he said, listen, this thing takes a budget cycle, which is 12 months. If at the end of 12 months, you do not get to see what is in the budget for your constituency, then you hold your representative, either in the House of Rep or in the Senate, culpable. And I think Jaribe also stated, listen, I didn't say that anybody got this. Ningi said, I got. And I was trying to tell him that, oh, you shouldn't have complained because I didn't get and I didn't complain. You know, all that type of thing. But there's something that is very clear, which you and Nigerians need to know. There are privileges that go with offices. So, if, for example, you are a president and a minister decides that, oh, I will have to put this type of project within the budget for something within the president's senatorial constituency. That is the privilege of office. And I think that happens everywhere. As a chairman of the Southeast senators during the time of Buhari, I remember that we fought a pitched battle against the Minister of Transport at that time. And we said to him, you cannot give Southeast a single carriage and then you give standard rail gauge and go and build it from Daura to Agadez or somewhere in the north then. And he said, why should Nigeria spend that kind of money when our own people are not getting? You see, those are the kind of privileges that you see when you are, you know, at the top of the heap in Nigeria. And I think what Jaribe meant to say was that, oh, some people enjoyed certain privileges here. That is understood by every senator. And I do not think that the intent was just to let Nigerians say, oh, a kind of worms have been opened, and then, of course, I'm reading all manners of things. Oh, and my very good friend Rufai with you, they say, they should have let Lingi talk. They should have, I mean, what else was he going to say?
No, but I would like to insist on that, Senator. I would like to insist on that. You see, Senator, you know, I like your... hang on a minute. I like your philosophical Igbo adages, and I was ready for you as regards those Igbo adages this morning. That there's an Igbo adage that says that if the snake does not show its venom, little children will use it to tie firewood. And that's the truth of what is happening between the government and the people. So that's why we are just here to be able to settle all this. Number one, I deliberately was playing devil advocate to ask that, why should even Ningi be made to apologize in the first place? Because he brought out something that it was your fact against mine. Yes, Senator Olamileko talked about the overriding issue, which we had all talked about here, that there was a that the budget was 28, there was no 2 budget cycles and all of that. But there were other substantive matters Ningi was talking about as regards the skewed nature of the budget to some constituent over the other. Also, the fact that, I mean, padding, duplication, I mean, we've been able to highlight some. Padding also means when frivolous things are added to be able to make something more rounded. Take, for instance, the money I mark for traditional rulers and all of that, you know, other duplication and things like that, which are the substantive matter in the budget, which we felt we should have looked at that Ningi's document to be able to scrutinize. Hence that first question. Second question now, you've been able to clarify. And why was Agbon Jaribe shut down when he talked about the 500 million? We know it went to constituency projects. All right. Why were some giving over the others? Because this is the same Senate that the same Senate president was saying that was caught on microphone that we're going to send prayers to your accounts. I don't know if you received those prayers too. Maybe you can tell us about those prayers too. So it is these discrepancies a lot of people ask. I don't know if you want to unbundle all of this for us and give some clarity.
Yes, let me attempt to give some clarity. And what you say, we start from first base. People do not like, and people already have a resentment against both the Senate and the government. And that is understandable because things are difficult. And some of us have been screaming and shouting and saying, can we deal with the substantive issue? And I have also tried to clarify, to say that all fingers are not equal, and that by privilege of office, certain people will get and normally do get. Not every senator gets an equal amount. And I'll just give you an instance. Every zone, there are 6 zones in the country, every zone gets for each zonal intervention 10 billion. Now, if you're from the Northwest zone, because you have 7 states, necessarily a senator will get less than me who come from 5-state zone. Now, because it's 10 billion for each person equally, I get, my state, Abia, gets 2 billion. And if we now break it up into both the Senate and the House, the Senate getting 40% and the House getting 60%, I get about 266 million as a constituency, zonal intervention. The person in Northwest had that 7 states necessarily gets less, about 100 and something. So you will see that ab initio, things are not equal. So it doesn't make sense for us when we want to make analysis to say every constituency must get an equal amount. So when you are a Senate president, when you're a deputy Senate president, when you're a Senate leader, and when you're and all that, necessarily, because of your office, you get a little more than your colleagues. But this is not what you complain about. What you're talking about is that you look at this in the budget, you see duplications. And what we say is that we have mechanisms to correct these things. If the mechanisms are there, you should use those mechanisms, not to go and incite the public against the Senate on that basis. That is just what we're saying. Every budget has a corrigendum. In other words, even if you don't catch it at the point at which we are doing debate, because at the point we do debate, you're supposed to look into the budget and you're supposed to come out and say, hey, I saw A here, and I saw A again here. It shouldn't be. And everyone will say, okay, how do we correct it? If you don't catch it at that time and the budget is passed and you come back, you now come and say, oh, I have seen these more things. That is the point at which Senator Ningi went to see the Senate president to say, I have seen a few things. He said, okay, fine, bring me the details. Then we could see how we could correct it. I think what caused this whole brouhaha is the fact that rather than do the details and rather than our taking it in-house, there was a press conference made on BBC, which tended to show everybody in a bad light. That's just the point. And I want you to understand it as that.
Senator, we have very limited time. If we could just respond to 2 issues. One, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele was saying that this is part of a subterranean grand attempt to unseat Senator Godswill Akpabio as president. Do you see a case for that? You know, are some people trying to remove the Senate president and that is the target? That's one. Second, for the benefit of those who may not really understand the process, how does this constituency project thing work? Is it that after what you have explained about the differentiation, a senator collects money, cash, in his personal account, and it is left to him to go and execute a project in his own constituency? Or how does it work?
Well, let me start from the last one. No senator collects any money. It goes into a project in your constituency. Your job will be to monitor it and ensure that it is done. It's done through all the MDAs, the ministry, the departments, or the agency. It depends on how it is put in the budget. That takes care of that. Nobody collects any money. Secondly, on the aspect of the subterranean moves, I can say that for Senator Opeyemi, there's an Igbo adage that says that no tenku The palm wine tapper does not say everything he sees on top of the tree. There are always subterranean moves in every milieu and all that. And sometimes you may just leave it. Sometimes you may want to make it open. So I think that he decided that he should bring it out so that everybody can rest. And I think that that's exactly what no system can stay without having some people having dissent and so forth. It's normal in our political system.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, do you think his suspension, that's Senator Ningi, his suspension was fair? Do you think that the document he brought, yes, I understand the fact that the man or his approach wasn't palatable or didn't put the Senate in good light. But beyond that, do you think in terms of the people that you represent, it's fair to take these allegations further in form of an investigation or independent review or audit of the budget? And then also, do you think that the suspension for 3 months is fair to him?
Well, we have rules. Our rules say in section 66 that if you bring the Senate to disrepute, I think there are several aspects of that section 66 in our rules, which you can discipline a senator. But there's also another part of the argument that says that under section, I think 2C of 14.8 or so, where a constituency must be represented. I'm an elder in the Senate, and I was part of those that went around and said, please, can we moderate this? But the view of the Senate prevailed. If I was, of course, the presiding officer, I probably would have run it differently. At the point at which Olamileko had made that clarification should have been where we should have ended the matter. But of course, the matter snowballed after it. And it is what it is. And I think we can just move on. The rules must be adhered to. Any system without rules will just devolve into chaos. That's all.
Okay. So just to clarify, when you say we should just move on, what do you mean by that? What does moving on mean?
Moving on means that at the point at which it was clarified that there was no two budgets being run, that is the point at which we ought to have ended everything. Okay. And as told you, all these other things that come up, whether there are duplications and all that, are things that you can correct. And that is just that.
But Senator, you're saying it as if they are just things like that. But those are the substantive issue too that Ningi was trying to expatiate on before he was, told to pretty much pipe low. And I feel those are the real substantive issues. How? No, at a time.
I disagree with you.
Okay. No, at a time where the overarching issue, Olamileko had cleared that, Ningi started now digging deep.
Yeah.
Into, it's just like a book. A book has a title. The title does not mean everything in the title is in the book. So Ningi was not digging deep into the book. Then the next thing we're saying, okay, it's enough, don't talk. And now you're saying those corrigium, just duplications like that, we can clear it. What if they are not affected? That's the question we'd like to ask, and that's what the people deserve to know. And secondly, I'd like to ask you, does the senator for that constituency has any role in who becomes the contractor of the constituency project, or has any input in who becomes the contractor of the constituency project? Because the ICPC revealed recently that there was a lot of scam in most of these constituency projects. And they named them back to the senator. Does the senator have any role or input in who becomes the contractor of those projects?
Well, a senator or a House of Rep member is not supposed to have a role in deciding who is a senator. Who is a contractor. The point really is this. People bid for jobs, people go through, and then there's awards that are given. So how do they now determine? I know that our system has been corrupted in such a way that mind-boggling things happen. But I think that we should also be a little circumspect when we want to make allegations of this nature. That is why I said, Rufai, from beginning, that at the point at which the original matter had been, and the matter for which we came to the Senate had been cleared, it was not necessary in order to try to say, I know a lot of things, then you dig into things that will just continue to snowball. And I've said at the beginning when I started that I think that we really have so much on our plate as a nation than to get diverted and forget about the really critical issues, and that's my position.
Security and also budget at the same time. We can do two things at a time. Senator, good morning, sir. Bless you, sir.
Well, Senator,
thank you.
Senator Abaribe, we'd like to thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much for sticking to this video to the end. Like I said before, now it's time for us to go to the comment section to air our mind and our opinion. Say what you think about this video and this platform. Do it constructively. Share this video, like, subscribe, and also continue to watch Linda's TV show, because this is the home of news. Until I see you again in my next video, remain blessed. For now, I would say bye-bye.